On November 24th, 1971, a man bought a plane ticket, took hostages, got $200,000 in cash, jumped from a parachute over the forest, and vanished. The FBI searched for him for 45 years. They never found him, though he left 5 clues, and all 5 are impossible. 1971. America is exhausted. The Vietnam War, inflation, and the skies. The skies are defenseless. That year, 31 airplanes were hijacked in the United States. 31. Passengers walked into the cabin without security checks. Cockpit doors didn't lock. Pilots were trained to comply. The hijacker became a folk figure, half criminal, half hero. On November 24th, one of them approached the Northwest Orient counter at Portland International Airport, Oregon. But he wasn't like the others. The others were caught the same day. He was never caught. A man appears at the counter, between 40 and 50 years old, dark suit, white shirt, black clip-on tie, raincoat over his arm, dark sunglasses. Remember the tie. It will become the most important piece of evidence in this case. He pays in cash, $20 for a one-way ticket to Seattle. He gives the name Dan Cooper, a name that exists in no government database. Not before that day, not after. Later, a reporter would make a mistake with the name. He would write D.B. Cooper. The mistake entered history. The real name, no one would ever know. Northwest Orient Flight 305, 36 passengers. He sits in window seat 18C, orders bourbon and soda, pays $2, leaves 20 cents as a tip. 20 cents. 2 minutes before he takes the plane hostage. Flight attendant Florence Schaffner would later remember one thing. He was calm, not nervous calm. Calm like a man who had done this before. But in the FBI archives, there is no similar crime before November 24th, 1971. Which means either he had done it without getting caught, or he had been preparing for years. When the plane reaches altitude, Cooper signals to Florence. He hands her a folded note. She decides, just another man leaving his phone number. She slips it into her pocket without reading. He looks at her quietly. "Miss, you'd better read it now." She opens the note. "I have a bomb. Sit beside me." Florence sits down. He opens the briefcase. Wires, 8 red cylinders, a battery. Was it a real bomb? To this day, no one knows, because he took the briefcase with him. The demands are simple. $200,000 in cash, bills of 20, 4 parachutes, 2 main, 2 reserve, a refueled aircraft in Seattle. The authorities make the decision quickly. Pay. $200,000 collected in just 2 hours. Bills of 20, every serial number recorded by hand. The FBI photographs every single bundle. This is important. Remember this detail. The money is delivered onto the aircraft. 4 parachutes, exactly as he requested. But one of the parachutes should not have been there. By mistake, the FBI brings a training parachute, sewn shut, non-functional. It cannot deploy. It is a dummy used for cadet instruction only. Cooper inspects all 4. He counts the money. And then he chooses. He chooses the training one. An experienced parachutist would tell it apart in 3 seconds, so either Cooper didn't know what he was doing, or he knew something we don't. The passengers are released. 4 crew members remain on board, and him. Cooper gives new instructions. Course, Mexico. Altitude, no higher than 3,000 meters. Speed, minimum 200 kilometers per hour. Landing gear, Taoso, down, flaps, 15 degrees, rear staircase unlocked. The pilot listens. In complete silence. These parameters were not known to every Boeing 727 pilot, but the passenger with the $20 ticket knew them all. 8:13 p.m., somewhere over the Cascade Mountains. Outside, rain, darkness, -7 Celsius. Cooper orders the crew to remain in the cockpit. Close the door. Do not exit. They hear him walking through this cabin, tying something, moving seats. Then silence. 8:24. Instruments register a pressure change. Rear staircase open. In flight. At 3,000 meters. The pilot calls Cooper through the intercom. Silence. He steps off the rear ramp of a commercial airliner into pitch-black darkness over a forest the size of Belgium. Business suit, loafers, no helmet, no oxygen mask, no map, no flashlight. 9 kilograms of cash strapped to his body. No one saw him jump. No one heard him land. 2 Air Force fighter jets followed, Flight 305, the entire way. The pilots looked directly at the tail of the Boeing 727. Neither of them saw a falling body. The plane lands in Reno. FBI agents storm the cabin. Seat 18C, empty. On the armrest, a clip-on tie. Cooper is gone. The money is gone. The briefcase is gone. The FBI launches the largest operation in its history, codename Norjack. 300 agents, 18 months, soldiers, helicopters, dogs, submarines scanning the Columbia River. They comb every square kilometer of forest twice. No body, no parachute, no traces, not a single bill in circulation. Nothing. The bills are marked, serial numbers sent to every bank in North America, casinos in Vegas, Mexican exchanges, European banks. If a single 20 appears anywhere in the world, the FBI knows within an hour. 45 years of silence. A year passes. 2. 5. Cooper does not appear. Then, 9 years later, the first piece of evidence. February 1980. The Ingram family arrives for a picnic on the banks of the Columbia River. A boy named Brian Ingram, 8 years old, digs a hole for a fire. His shovel hits something soft. 3 rotted bundles of 20s. The serial numbers match. $5,800. The FBI excavates the entire riverbank. Nothing else. And then the real story begins. Strangeness 1. The location. The money was found 30 kilometers from the calculated landing zone. By the aircraft's trajectory, Cooper physically could not have ended up there. The Columbia River does not flow through the jump zone. The current would not have brought the bundles there. Not a single hydrologist on the case could explain how they ended up there. Strangeness 2. The condition. The bills were stacked together, rubber bands intact, as if they were placed there. Not thrown. If Cooper had crashed, the bundles should have been scattered by the river, animals 9 winters. They were neat, as if someone had placed them there. Strangeness 3. The tie. The same one Cooper left on seat 18C. The FBI kept it in archive for 40 years. In 2011, they ran a new laboratory analysis. On the tie, microparticles, pure titanium, rare earth metals, a specific stainless steel alloy. In 1971, this combination was used in 3 places in America: aerospace plants, nuclear facilities, and one main one, Boeing. Cooper was not a random man off the street. He was inside the system that was searching for him. In 45 years, The FBI checked more than 1,000 suspects. Richard McCoy, Vietnam veteran, paratrooper, hijacked another plane 5 months later. The same scheme, the same demands, the same route. Killed in a shootout in 1974. The FBI did not recognize him as Cooper. Why? No one has ever explained. Kenneth Christensen, Northwest Airlines employee, knew the aircraft, knew the route. On his deathbed in 1994, he whispered to his brother, "There are things you don't need to know." DNA didn't match, but the DNA from the tie was partial and possibly not Cooper's at all. Robert Rackstraw, former Green Beret, pilot, con man, laughed at questions in interviews. In 2018, an independent investigator decoded a cipher in Cooper's letter to a newspaper. The code pointed to Rackstraw. A year later, Rackstraw died. No charges were filed. Every suspect a dead end. In July 2016, the FBI officially suspended the investigation indefinitely. But the case wasn't closed. For new evidence, it remains open. There is no new evidence. On seat 18C remained a tie. In it, particles of titanium pointing to Boeing. On a riverbank, a stack of money 30 kilometers from where it could not have been. In the FBI archives, a sewn parachute that could not have opened. The one Cooper chose. 2 fighter jets escorting. Who saw no body. 45 years. Not a single bill in circulation. 1,000 suspects. None of them matched. He didn't spend a single cent. Or there was no one left to spend it. The only unsolved aircraft hijacking in the history of the United States. Case closed. Cooper. Not. 5 clues. Not one answer. A parachute that wouldn't open. A tie with particles of Boeing. Money 30 kilometers from the impossible. A code in a letter that no one could decipher for 47 years. And a man seen by 2 fighter jets. And not seen. In part 2, we open every thread. Follow the file.